Hey guys, what's going on? This is Andy Clements and welcome to another episode of the Muscle Building Mastery Podcast. In today's episode, we're going to talk a little bit about the number one factor that is the biggest indicator of whether you're going to be successful or whether you're going to be unsuccessful with your muscle building efforts. And it's not something that you'd probably think of first, right? When I say the number one factor that denotes whether you're going to be successful or unsuccessful with muscle building, you probably think about genetics or drug use or supplements or nutrition or training protocol or something like that. It's none of that. It's none of that. All of that is sort of things that can be figured out down the line. The number one factor that determines whether you will succeed or whether you will fail in achieving the physique that you're trying to achieve, in building the muscle, building the strength, building the weak body parts, whatever it is that you're trying to achieve right now, is persistence. And this probably, like, you might want to dismiss this and be like, oh, whatever, man, like I just need to find the right workout program, or whatever, man, I just need to find the right diet, or I just need to get the right supplements, or whatever it is that you've got in your head right now. And I'm going to say bullshit, right? Because persistence is the number one thing that you could employ that will make sure that you can skyrocket your muscle building efforts and skyrocket your results, right? And the first time I ever learned this lesson, it was a little bit weird, right? Because I was 14, 15 years old. I'm 27 now, so like 13 years ago. And I around that time, I don't know if any of you guys remember the old Xbox or PlayStation game like Call of Duty number 4, like the first version of Modern Warfare, right? Any of you who's as nerdy as me will remember that game. And it was a massive game, man. I used to spend so many hours on that game. But I remember there was like a multiplayer mode and there was a campaign mode, right? So stay with me here, I've got a point to it. And I used to play the campaign mode sometimes, and I can remember there was like different, like there was the equivalent of like easy, medium, and hard, right? So there was like, I can't remember what it was, but I can remember the hard difficulty was called veteran. So I would complete it on the easy and the medium one, and then I would do the veteran one, like the hard one. And I would just get slaughtered. Like, I'd be able to do a few missions, and then I'd just be like coming up against brick wall all the time. And this was the most important thing in my life at 14 years old, right? So this is what I did. And I can remember a friend of mine came around to my parents' house, and he was like, it was much better, like much better at these games than I was, right? He was just like much more talented, much better coordination, and all the rest of it. And I said, hey, can you help me on this mission? Because it was doing my head in. Like, I kept dying at this certain point and all that stuff. And he tried it a few times and then he did it. And I was like, wow, okay, like how the hell did you do that? How have you become so good at this? Like I could try this all day, I can't do it. Like, I never get really annoyed and frustrated and then end up throwing my teddies out with it and putting it in the corner, right? And I said, how have you become so good at this game? Like, surely you're not born this good at this game. How have you got so good at this game? And he just went, it's just persistence. It's like, I just don't give up when I fail, like, and I just don't get annoyed, and I just keep going and going and going, and eventually I get better. And I was like, a little 14-year-old mind, right? It's absolutely blown. And yeah, so that's the first time I learned that lesson. It was like, it's just persistence. And essentially what persistence means is just not giving up. Just not giving up, because the difference between the successful people, and this is a key point, right? So write this down if you've got your phone on you, and like put it in your notes or write in the notes something. But this is a really important lesson. The difference between the successful people and the unsuccessful people is that the successful people have failed more times than the unsuccessful people, right? Because the unsuccessful people just give up before they get to the right amount of failures that they need to succeed. Because it's very, very rare that somebody will succeed on their first try of doing something, and that includes building muscle, right? So in their first attempt at following a workout program or a diet or whatever, it's very, very rare that somebody will achieve the results they want on the first try, unless they've paid like thousands of pounds and got a high-end coach and they've got everybody. Like, if they're doing it on their own, it's very rare that you'll get the results that you're hoping for on the very first try. What's more likely is you might get a little bit of something, but not anything that denotes real change, right? So what's the difference? The difference is persistence. You've got to persist and keep going with it, and don't give up, and just be consistent as hell in your efforts to really grow and develop your muscle mass. And you will see the results eventually. You honestly will see the results eventually. Like, there's a book called Think and Grow Rich, and it's a really, really old book, and that makes it takes ages pains to point out that the biggest thing that you could possibly do for success in anything, and that book's about business and finance and wealth and stuff, but the biggest thing that you could do to achieve success in, whether it's business, whether it's wealth, or whether it's what we're talking about here, which is muscle building and strength building, is be persistent. Now, obviously there's other factors that come into play. You need to know the roadmap, you need to know how to do things, but unless you are willing to say, okay, I'm committing to this length of time, whether it's a year, whether it's 2 years, however long it is, and I'm not going to give up. I am just going to keep going and keep going and keep going. And you can keep learning, and you can keep experimenting, you can be implementing different people's knowledge and learning from this person and this person and this person and whoever it is. But unless you employ the principle of persistence, it's not going to work for you. It's like the diet plans, right? Like I always say, the diet plans, I could give you the best diet plan in the world. I could give you the diet plan that works for the best bodybuilders, the best athletes, the best, strength and conditioning people, whoever it is. But if you don't follow it, it's the worst diet plan in the world, because you're not following it, you're not on it, right? So you have to be persistent. You have to do the work, show up every single day, and that's the biggest piece of advice that I could ever give you guys. Be persistent, show up every day, and keep the faith because there will be times where you think this isn't working, what's the point, blah blah blah. You'll have self-doubt, you'll have all the rest of that stuff, but if you just be persistent, you keep showing up, it'll happen for you, I guarantee it. So that's all I've got. Short one today, but hopefully you enjoyed that. Hopefully you took something from that. Don't forget, just be persistent, just keep showing up, and you'll get the results that you want. Yeah, hope you enjoyed that. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to this podcast. I'm going to be releasing a new one every single day, and yeah, speak to you soon. Peace.